Hello world, how are you doing today? Hello wonderful subscribers, beautiful people out there. I hope that you stick around and watch this video. I normally don't do this kind of content here because it's so not channel safe, but being that YouTube has completely annihilated my reach anyways, it really doesn't matter anyways. What the heck? But this is InfoWars. Be prepared for that. But you're going to also get presentations by very highly acclaimed scientists and people involved in extremely large globalist operations dealing with transhumanism and all kind of wonderful things that nobody wants us to know about. And I hope, like I said, you can stick around. Please watch this video and then do your own research as much as possible to try to debunk everything that you're getting ready to see. Thank you all very much for watching, and let's roll.
Of this and what's going on. And then you, on his podcast with Sean Johnson, scanned him with one of these expensive machines, and you've done this for governments, you name it, and you can literally show, which, again, folks, we put in injections, you name it. It's down in the food. They say the average person has like half a plastic spoon in their brain. This is all going on, and you've got these detectors coming up next hour. You already did Sean. You'll do them again live here. You got a lav mic, so you can do it. You're going to do me live on air to give people an idea of all the stuff in the environment that's not being put there by an accident. 4 years ago, Biden legalized nanotech in the food, marking us for this Bill Gates patent for blockchain. So it's all coming up. But you've got the floor now. Give us some a basic boil down, and then get to this clip. First look at this huge new film coming out about this. Thanks for being here, Jesse, and I'm glad that Sean got us in contact.
Well, thank you, and it was a wonderful and pleasurable event going on that hike with you this morning, and that discussion really is a precipitous about what we're going to talk about today. I'm working with director Matthew Scow, who is currently doing a documentary, which I'm featured in, discussing these topics, specifically of what's happening and what happened after the jab. This clip is called, it's Nano Sapiens is the title. And
that's the new film.
That is the new documentary.
So first look at Nano Sapiens.
Correct. Let's go ahead and bring it up.
All right, here it is.
Way back in 1778, the Continental Congress unanimously passed America's first whistleblower law.
I did this clearly at my own jeopardy.
It recognized the duty to give the earliest information to Congress of any misconduct.
Critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize
upload complete
total biometric surveillance.
It's always the data. It's the crack cocaine of Silicon Valley. We are already living inside the architecture of totalitarianism.
We need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin.
I know my husband is not vaccinating people and putting a microchip in their arm because that technology doesn't even exist, and he's never uttered the words out of his mouth, so.
Microchips and tracking devices are embedded in the vaccine. Is this accurate?
We have 6 MAC addresses that are pulsing Bluetooth signals, and all we are is surrounded by tombstones.
So can someone explain to me why we're getting EMF emissions off grave inside of a Faraday cage, please?
So we've seen the reports of individuals having
A first look at nanosapiens. The director and producer of died suddenly. This is powerful. The research is there. This is the globalist revolution. This is the reality. And I appreciate Jesse Beltran being here to break all this down with us. MindNexus Live, MindNexusLive.com. All right, so this is the revolution. This is the transhumanism. This is why the World Economic Forum says the future is not human. This is the revolution. We know it's self-replicating. They admit it all. Quantify exactly what we're facing, and then you've got a big presentation for us. You got Sean Johnson. You did a podcast with us, come out in a few days. A buddy of mine, Davey Seal, you scanned him, found all this stuff. You know this for major governments. This is really happening. So, Jesse, thanks for being here.
Hey, no problem, and thank you for the platform. It's important that we disseminate this message, to basically educate the population, and now it's a global issue, about what was really happening. A little bit about myself. My background is I'm the former president of an organization called the International Center Against the Abuse of Covert Technologies, pre-hospital emergency medicine. I was a firefighter paramedic out of the city of Sacramento, retired, and a former trainer for public and government agencies on bioterrorism. I did proprietary programming, and I was the first co-owner of the third largest ISP in the state of California, which instituted line-of-sight microwave technology in order to transmit high-speed data and encrypted information. I've been an advocate for medical transparency, and I'm currently the president of an organization called Cosmic Clarity Connections, where MindNexus Live is our brand. How I got into this is I met a gentleman by the name of Dr. John Hall, who's been a guest on your show previously here in Austin, Texas in 2010. And we were discussing a topic about a phenomenon that not only happened to someone who was close to him, but also happened close to me.
As a paramedic, you saw this happening.
Correct. And so what the phenomenon was is we had United States citizens who were experiencing these strange acute sounds. They said a signal was being directed at them, followed by short-term, long-term memory loss.
And that's even been in the California news. Like this is in the news.
Correct. Recently, followed by vertigo, nausea, vomiting, and more specifically, an electrical reverberation throughout their body, which is now defined as buffeting. Just last year, the Department of Homeland Security held a hearing in which a gentleman by the name of Colonel Greg Egren gave testimony that this phenomenon was happening on our homeland. First, they said in 2016, it started with our diplomats in Havana, Cuba.
So this is recognized.
Exactly. And then it started happening to the best of our best in the CIA. the best of the best in the FBI, and now it's happening to congressional members. And that's what's peculiar about this. The U.S. government is only acknowledging that this is happening to federal employees. But Dr. Hall and I have been covering this topic since 2010. And how it came about is Dr. Hall said that, I asked, why isn't anything being done for these people? And he said, because they're being railroaded into the mental health industry and force institutionalized or force medicated. So I said, so how do we take these subjective complaints and turn them into objectivity, something that's measurable, something that we can touch and feel? And so he was doing on a minute scale what was called RF testing, and he was utilizing a device called a JM20 Pro, which I'll show your audience here in a little bit. And then he was finding positive results. So we were finding some anomaly of frequency around a human person at very specific anatomical points around the human body. So I said, well, I'm going to call a meeting in Sacramento, California, just to see how many people would show up. And I expected maybe a handful, but over 100 people showed up. And that's when I knew we had something. So we started doing surveys, and I started doing mass testing out in the field with utilizing the JM20 Pro and collecting the data. We held the meeting in Davis, California, and 300 people showed up to that first event. And what was interesting in the findings is that most prominently, if you were a Caucasian female in your 40s, recently single, widowed or divorced, highly educated, that you had a higher propensity of being affected with this phenomenon. Then it was Caucasian males, African-American females, African-American males, Asians, Hispanics, and it dwindled down from there. That stayed consistent across the United States into the Midwest until I got to Chicago, where the criteria of Caucasians and African-Americans kind of flipped. And that stayed consistent all the way up the East Coast, except for one anomaly. Up in Virginia, I was asked to come and see about 100 military subcontractors who were having these exact same complaints. And what it led into is that we were taking this data, and what I was doing spread globally, and I was invited by a government agency in Europe to come and test some of their diplomats. And they said, if you have any American citizens who you feel strongly are being affected by this, please bring them with you. And so what they allowed me to do is use a research facility in what is called an anechoic chamber, and we'll demonstrate what that looks like and why that was very important for us to do. Really, this microwave frequency issue is something that's been pre-planned by our U.S. government. And this...
we're not front-loading it. We should be. There's all these patents. Gates is obsessed. This is all going on. The self-replicating, the new vaccines, growing these things, and people saying, you'll be blockchain, we'll control you. It's actually hiding in plain view. It's crazy.
Correct. So what I'm going to show you is a report that we obtained through a FOIA request, and it's called the New World Vistas. And this was created by our United States Air Force and released in November of 1994. And they brought the greatest minds together, and the objective was to how do we keep the United States Air Force a superpower 50 years into the future. And they were talking about these very exotic type technologies. And on page 89, interestingly enough, is a chapter that's called Biological Processes and Control. And in this segment, it talks about utilizing radio frequencies in order to manipulate and control biological process on a human person. And in it, it specifically says the ability to imprint memory sets and erase memory sets, along with causing various physiological responses. So we're talking about maybe even utilizing these technologies against our foreign enemies.
The main obsessions like the Kingsman and all these other movies where they send a frequency out that makes everybody kill themselves.
Correct.
Or kill each other.
Yeah, and this technology was used in the Middle East. They were transmitting the voice of Allah to our enemies, and they were just surrendering in droves. So this this technology has been
By the way, what's
around.
crazy is I've been on the air forever. So I remember like Baltimore Sun articles 20-something years ago. CIA secretly used cell towers to broadcast messages, and it was successful for mind control. Where does they'll publish it sometimes as a test?
Correct. Correct. We are the guinea pigs. And back in 2010, we strongly believe that what we were seeing and documenting was the initial onset of this experimentation. Now, here's what's crazy. This sounds like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, but now we've been able to prove what has happened and is now.
I don't want you to go forward, but I'm not an engineer or a biologist or, but I've read the science. Our cells are electrochemical and operate the same way as silicon, basically. So that's why they're able to put a wire in your head, Elon Musk, so you can see. Like it's the same thing. Just we're biological. We're carbon. It's silicon.
Correct, and we're essentially biological computers. But what was interesting is we also had another report that we got our hands on, and it was called The Individual Rights and the Federal Role of Behavior Modification. And this was released in November of 1974, and this was by the staff on the Subcommittee of Constitutional Rights of the Committee of the Judiciary, United States Senate, 93rd Congress. And in this report in 1972, what it talks about is the ability to manipulate individuals. And this specifically was our prisoners. And unfortunately, in our society, the weakest of our...
For those that don't know, medical experimentation is on troops and prisoners.
Correct.
That's the main groups.
Yeah.
And terminal medical patients.
Yep. Medical health, the mental health industry has a high propensity of this type of experimentation. But in this report, strangely enough, they were already in 1972, specifically in Vacaville Prison, which is notorious for violating human rights, specifically on prisoners, was already doing biometric telemetry. That means sending heart rates remotely, body temperature, respiration, all of these type of physiological measurements. But what was really interesting, it specifically says in this report on page 35, they were also able to remotely read thoughts.
Which, by the way, we talked about this morning. Maybe find the clip, guys. World Economic Forum 2 years ago goes, oh, we have these earbuds, read your thoughts, and lifetime we monitor you. So this is all documented, folks. The future's here. It's just not evenly distributed. Let's come back. By the way, you got to stay. You guys got to go on Harrison Smith. We got to do the scanning on here. I've seen all your documents. It's dead on. I've done the research myself, but you bring it all together. This is a short segment. Some stations don't carry it. I want to scan Sean and myself here coming up, but you're giving some great background here and take as much time as you want, but quantifying this is a major revolution to take over society.
That is exactly correct. And our process, what we developed was doing this scanning process, a really proprietary system in which we created. And what we were finding that people were coming up positive, very specific focal areas. And you can see those areas. Usually it's the right, left TMJ, nasal dorsum, base of the neck, occipital portion, right, left arm, apex, and the hips and the lower extremities. Now, depending on whether you were a soldier, incarcerated, or just a regular civilian, you can superimpose those results over each other, and they are identical depending.
And you scanned Sean, and it was right the spots you said.
For a soldier.
And he could take his own scanner he buys and the same thing.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So what?
So they inject you, and then it migrates to the spot, or how's that work?
So the transition in history is in the 1940s, there was a large grain of rice type RFID chip. Then in the early 70s, it became a smaller grain of rice. As we approached the 80s and 90s, they became small enough to be a letter on a penny. And now what we're doing after the COVID experience, we are now finding areas where people are lighting up in a huge number of locations that we've never seen before.
And they admit it's growing. It's self-replicating.
Yeah.
They say in the patents.
The nanotech is self-replicating, self-assembling. It can attach to your DNA, and it will cross the blood-brain barrier. And what we have found when we took individuals over to Europe, when we concluded that for whatever reason, the human body was emitting a frequency out of these individuals, what we ended up doing, and I'll talk about this case next, is the Bonnie Collerby case. She was one of my first clients. And she came up positive in these exact areas. And what they ended up removing were biosensors. This is the photomicrographic images.
As you said earlier, this is the older tech.
This is the older tech, okay? But it's important that we show the audience
key,
what this is. Yeah. So this has a nanowire. Our bodies don't reject them. Your biological process.
And that's the current Neuralink technology.
That's what we'll be touching on. But anyway, these are images of actual live implants that were removed from Mrs. Pellerby. And in the reports, they use chain of custody. And
you use mainline hospitals, doctors, it's all documented.
Yeah, and in the conclusion, they say they found advanced material composite specimens that illustrate aspects of nanotechnology utilized in the development of sensory polymetric lattices, messagens, and other building materials as associated with this. So this was proof positive. This was a smoking gun. We pulled the bullet out of someone, and we were able to conclude that this phenomenon that the U.S. government...
And then you got the code. It's some advanced triple code.
Correct. Correct. This is I'll talk about this. We have other images where these foreign bodies were identified in individuals in CT scans, panoramic x-rays, and so forth. But there's a gentleman here by the name of Dr. Ido Bachelet. In 2013, he gave a TED talk in Israel. And I'm going to show the audience real quick this short video. It's a few seconds. But he's holding up this 1 cc syringe. And listen to what he says. These are actually the nanobots. You can control them with RF emissions. But he says, in the tip of this syringe is...
I'll show you this syringe, which I brought from my lab. So this syringe has inside it 1,000 billion robots. So these robots are each 50 nanometers long, which as you can see in this slide under the microscope. 50 nanometers is about 2,000 times thinner than the thickness of your hair.
Hold on, we got to start this over. Stay there. We're going to go to break. Start this over. This is so huge, and it's all out in the open, all hidden in plain view. Jesse Beltran's our guest, also Sean Johnson. We're going to both get scanned. Sean Johnson, myself, coming up.
So these are brain sensors that are starting to be embedded in everyday devices, but until now have been a number of niche companies that really have focused on mindfulness and meditation. The use of, for example, brain sensors that can pick up electrical activity in the brain at a pretty low resolution, but advances in AI have both improved what the signal is that can come from the brain and enabled the miniaturization of those products. As a lot of the major tech companies start to invest in these brain sensors, it's a huge, I think, untapped market in many ways of integrating them into everyday devices. These are earbuds or watches or headphones and the soft cups around the ears. Many of those products are hitting the market this year, and others are hitting them within the next 2 years, such that people can listen to music, a phone call, etc., while having those devices in ears. Initially, what they will be capable of doing is very high-level brain state reading. Things like, are you tired? Are you paying attention? Is your mind wandering? Are you happy or sad? They maybe enable interaction like up, down, left, right for interaction with other technologies. And they're being embedded into things like virtual reality headsets.
We're not talking about implanted devices of the future. I'm talking about wearable devices that are like Fitbits for your brain. It used to be that there was very little we could tell from EEG activity. But already, using consumer wearable devices, these are headbands, hats that have sensors that can pick up your brainwave activity, earbuds, headphones, tiny tattoos that you can wear behind your ear. We can pick up emotional states like, are you happy or sad or angry? We can pick up and decode faces that you're seeing in your mind. Simple shapes, numbers, your PIN number to your bank account.
Interestingly,
not just from neuroscience, but also from psychology. There's a wonderful researcher by the name of Elizabeth Loftus, who's done some really fascinating work looking at planting false memories. She has a great TED Talk on this as well, talking about planting of false memories, where she successfully, in a number of her experiments, has planted false memories, including people believing that they've been at Disney World with characters who are not Disney characters, taking photographs with those characters, or that they've seen a stop sign that wasn't actually there, simply by manipulating images and stories that she tells to them, and then they come back into the lab and they are convicted in their belief. And so there's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. And in a different context, one of the emerging areas that's really interesting in law neuroscience is pain detection. And once we understand the circuitry.
All right, I just told the crew, get me the WF thing where they said mind control buds. This is like 5 years old. They put one out last year saying it's perfected. Your boss will watch everything you do and control you. We'll put that in post later when it's posted X, but you got caught up on the break. Jesse Beltran, huge new film coming out that you're heavily involved in from the makers of Died Suddenly. This is so massive. You were playing a clip of them at the big TED Talk Globalist event talking about nanotech. Then we have the documents, we have the patents, and we know what they're doing to the COVID shots. This is huge. Start over.
Okay, what I'm going to show the audience is this is Dr. Ido Bachelet, who was giving a TED-Med talk in Bishalon, Israel. And listen to what he says as to how many nanorobots are in the tip of the needle of this 1 cc syringe.
And I'll show you this syringe, which I brought from my lab. So this syringe has inside it 1,000 billion robots. So these robots are each 50 nanometers long, which as you can see in this slide under the microscope. 50 nanometers is about 2,000 times thinner than the thickness of your hair.
1,000 billion robots that he just brought from his lab. In addition, these things are controlled by computer code. He also teaches his students how to control these things once they're in a host with your Xbox controller. And then
you're going out with top scientists. You have it on record. It's insane. The reason I know you're for real, I studied this all day, so I've already seen everything you're telling me, but you're putting it together. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, the patents, the admissions. I mean, this is the ultimate takeover. An army that comes, like, take the movie The Thing in the 80s, remake from the 50s with James Arness playing it, and that's a biological thing. This is a silicon thing.
Yes, these nanorobots are composed of graphene oxide, and here's what's really interesting. There was a study, and they looked at it under high spectrum microscopy. This is the silicane derivatives.
And that's exactly what they find in the COVID shot, people.
Correct. These are the nanorobots. Look how similar they look to Dr. Ido Bachelet's robots. And remember, they can carry a payload.
Well, now they admit the new shots are self-replicating.
Correct. Correct.
Which they denied before, now they admit.
Correct. And this was a study that was done, and they've proven that these nanorobots were in the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine. These were the results without going into too in-depth because we don't have as much time.
I don't like to speculate. Was it designed to kill us, or do people just get killed in the test because it creates a sludge if it takes the whole body over?
Yeah, well, technology in and of itself is not good or bad. It's neutral. But those in control of the technology decide whether it's bad or good, used in a bad or good way. So
why just bomb billions of people with it?
Yeah, this is about mass control. If you look at what the agenda is, this is
so they hate us. They want to depopulate us. They can get a lot of medical developments out of it. Just do it. Just hit us.
Right. Well, if you can imprint memory sets and erase memory sets, what kind of powerful weapon is that?
Mind control.
I truly believe we're in a new war. The United States has the tech. Russia, who has been far ahead of us in this technology, has the tech. The UK has the tech. The Chinese have the tech. And India has the tech. So Putin gave a presentation in the Politico, and he said the first superpower to master psychotronic weapons will be the superpower to rule the world.
I remember that. That was like a long time ago.
Yeah. And
explain psychotronic weapons.
Psychotronic weapons are basically any weapon that has a methodology and in changing the way you think, your biological processes, your emotions, your biochemistry, All of these things entail a psychotronic weapon.
And by the way, we'll have you back for 10 hours. I should have done the whole show on this. This is meant to happen. Thanks, Sean, for wherever we want to get this guy on. But the time we have in 45 minutes, I want to quantify. We'll do the test on air. Give us the 35,000-foot view, and then you come, because I want to go through all this.
Okay. So the Trojan horse, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny just gave a presentation showing what was on the gel on the PCR testing, or the microneedles that are in there. I'm demonstrating that this patent existed. And if you look at when these were implemented, they were in the early 2010, 2012 era. And this should be very concerning to everyone. This particular patent is put out by AT&T, and it's routing policies for biological host. So what they're...
So it's creating the connector, the launch pad for it.
Correct. So that you can do monetary transactions just by your body.
And then Bill Gates has the patents for it.
Correct. Well, this one is by AT&T.
No, I know, but I'm saying now he's got more.
Correct.
So just start over. We are the host for this.
Correct. We are the hosts. We are the nodes. And if you looked at our introduction on that Nano Sapiens video, you notice that someone was using a Wireshark in a graveyard. They were detecting MAC addresses in dead bodies that were buried under the ground. And there's a study being done in the UK currently where live individuals who have had the vaccine are emitting MAC addresses.
And you're able to scan people and go get patented frequencies owned by NATO.
That is a U.S. soldier case that I was talking to you on our hike this morning.
Understand, folks, he scans them, puts them in a database. It's NATO, which is at the highest level, folks. They hide it all there.
Correct. And this was a U.S. soldier, special ops guy. And so you have to ask, why would NATO own the leasing rights on a frequency that it's emitting from one of...
Let's be clear. You're scanning frequencies in government meetings, showing it. They have their own devices proving it. You go look it up, and that's how arrogant they are. And it goes right to a database of a high-level intel frequency.
Correct.
Sorry, go ahead. This is insane.
Yeah. So, and then we talk about the microwave auditory effect. A lot of these diplomats, the CIA agents and the FBI agents, Colonel Egren said that they are being incapacitated, taken out. And the reason being is because they are completely compromised. If the
these are like senior people that have long careers. They're not making it up.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So just think about this. If you have the ability to read someone's thoughts back in 1972, and just think about how far along we've come with technology. So if you're able to do this and assess EEG patterns and know what someone's thinking, what does that do to national security?
Evaporates it.
It's completely gone. What does it do to attorney-client privilege?
Over.
Done. What does that mean for society and the future of our children?
Total collapse.
Total collapse. Yeah. Your autonomy, your free will as a human species is no longer there. In fact, they've reclassified what the human species is today, who has this tech in them, and it's Homo Borg Genesis is a new term that they're utilizing.
I've seen Harari use that term.
Correct. Yeah. And so that's what we're facing.
He says the future's not human. By 2047, no humans left on Earth.
Correct. And here's the question I pose. If I were to ask the audience, do you think this is legal to do, particularly here in the United States? What do you think most would say? Most would probably say, no, that's unconstitutional. It's against our Bill of Rights. But guess what? It's completely legal. And
you found the law, and then I gave you one this morning going in the law.
Correct. So in 2016, under the 21st Century Cures Act, hidden in that, this was marketed to us by President Obama as a way to fight the opioid epidemic crisis in the United States. But hidden in there was a section called 3024. And in section 3024, it specifically says that it is legal to experiment non-consensually on U.S. citizens without consent, as long as it doesn't exceed a normal risk criteria.
But a car wreck's a risk. It means anything.
Correct, yeah. So the question goes is, what is normal everyday risk? Do people die every day? And the question to that would be yes. The other problem with this law is that It is protected by national security type protocols. So if you're being experimented on, that data cannot be released even if you did a FOIA request. And in 2024, during the Biden administration, before they transitioned into the Trump administration, they extended these protocols to include private entities and corporations.
Yeah, so look, we all know about secret experimentation forever. It's mad scientists running it. I gave you U.S. Code, Title 50, Chapter 32, 1520B. U.S. Code, Title 50, Chapter 32, subsection 1520A, paragraph B. And they've changed it off and on, but that says anything for national security or research purposes, even if lethal, is legal.
Correct. And because what is the moral compass of the person up at the top overseeing this IRB? And that's the question everyone needs to pose. If you have someone who really is a sociopath or psychopath and really doesn't have empathy for human life.
Like COVID was a giant test, 30 million dead. So bottom line, because I want to, 10 minutes to break, I want to come back and do these scans. They've rolled out the latest technology that is self-amplifying, self-replicating. The public blew up over the COVID shots. It woke them up. I don't think they realize the real shoe's about to drop. I saw right when Biden got in, they signed an executive order. I remember the headline, nanotech now legal in food. What does that mean? Like, what is that?
Correct. Actually, Bill Gates holds a patent in which they put a very tiny nanomicroscopic tag in foods. They said it was to track where the food is going. But what happens when you eat it? You're also
now you're tracked.
Yeah, now you're tracked. And when we talked about the MAC addresses that were being detected in grave sites and now being detected.
By the way, that came out. That was duplicated by mainstream media.
Correct. Yeah. There's a peer-reviewed study going on right now in the UK that I was mentioning. It's actually in live human beings.
By the way, Cronenberg's doing movies about that.
Correct. So you can actually, you have no more privacy. Where you go is no longer. It's always being documented. This is a biometric system, so they know your emotions, they know your breathing patterns, they know.
Well, that's the Internet of Things.
Correct. It's all being integrated. And Elon Musk said, very specifically in an interview, he says that we humans are creating an AI god that's integrating with this technology. Okay, so what does that mean?
He said, beware of it. But he also said we're the boot system for it.
Exactly. Every walking human being is a node. And that.
Well, Google, when it was founded in 1998, said with ARPA, DARPA, CIA, Incotel, they said we're creating a cybernetic interface with billions of people, and the humans won't know they're part of the cyborg. So it's a giant cyborg brain.
Well, a hive mind is what there's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Duncan who passed away recently, who became a whistleblower because he unknowingly helped develop this technology. And so he came out in support of victims everywhere who were suffering from this. And here's the thing. Right now, there is no support for the civilian population, only the federal employees. And I can tell you, based on my data, that we know of people, because there is no help, are committing suicide. And think about this. What if mental health was synthetically induced into someone like you, your loved ones, your children? You know, what does that mean? And what does that mean to the
It's a capturing system.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. We already know AI with only a few years, dumbing people down, isolating them, destroying thinking processes. It is killing us the way it's been deployed.
Correct. And there is no more free will. And that's what we're facing.
I have an allergy to it, though. I think a lot of people are going to rebel against this. I think they already are.
I hope so, but this is why we do. Thank you for this platform, because.
Oh, thank you. I can talk to you 50 hours. The reason I'm moving you along is not because you're boring. It's so important. Yeah. You got to come back for like 5 hours next week. We'll do commercial free. I want to get Sean Johnson here. So I was right where you're working. He said, "Have you heard of this guy?" Yeah, well, I'll bring him over. So this was meant to happen today, but I don't think Trump even understands any of this.
No, unfortunately, Palantir is a company that is heavily involved in this type of technology. And
tell us about Palantir, because my issue with Palantir is I'll criticize them all day. I just see people focusing not on Larry Ellison and Oracle, not on Microsoft, not on Amazon. That sees the big players. Palantir is definitely coming in. How central are they?
Well, he's really weighing heavily on their ability to basically get all of this data. And if they have these huge petabyte cloud systems and factories to collect all this data. What are they doing with it? You got to remember, everyone having this in them is a node. So Palantir is one of those companies that they're looking at to obtain all this data and retain it. And then what is being done with it? That is the question.
Well, there's no doubt there's a race to integrate it.
Correct.
And Palantir wants in on that. I'm saying from your research, who's the most dominant right now? Would it be Larry Ellison?
Well, I will say...
Or the Pentagon Sentinel?
So based on the frequencies that we're detecting... NATO, you've got military subcontract, BlackRock, you've got Raytheon, you've got Lockheed Martin.
Of course, it's always the defense contractors.
IBM, you've got Qualcomm, AT&T.
IBM is the antecedent or the progenitor to all this.
Yeah, there's a case in Oak Grove, California. There was a Dawn DeVore case. She was a nurse who blew the whistle on what was being done to prisoners, and they tried to discredit her by doing this to her, and they actually pulled out the same type of sensors that were pulled out of the Bonnie Kellerby case out of her. They surgically removed them. She ended up suing, and she settled out of court, I believe, was somewhere on the amount of $5 million after a $100 million lawsuit. So what they're doing is they're buying these people out to keep...
Yeah, let's be clear about my Palantir thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking to all the experts. I want to know who the kingpin is. I'll do it. But you just said it from... I'm sure you know the IBM story. Most people don't. But it's actually on record. IBM, Thomas Watson got the highest award from Hitler. He actually ran the Third Reich. Hitler took orders from him. There's Pulitzer Prizes, books written on it, IBM and the Holocaust. They were getting broken up because of antitrust stuff. He created, Bill Gates' dad was on the board of his eugenics board. So then they had to get around antitrust, so they created Microsoft to give them the operating system as a subgroup and handed the foundation to Bill Gates. So if it's funny you said IBM, no, I wasn't even saying that in modern parlance, but it's really behind it all. So it goes like IBM, and then I would say Microsoft, and then Bezos is, heavily, like, people think of Amazon. That's not even half his business. And I see Palantir trying to get in there. So I'm defending Palantir. Everybody's just saying Palantir, Palantir. I see all the coverage of Palantir in the media, corporate media, as a way to go, oh, yeah, you're worried about Big Brother, it's Palantir. When I'm just saying it's already this giant thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're all in it. They're all in it. It's a conglomerate of all of them.
But who's dominant?
All of them. All of them. Right now there's a fight. You've got Google. You've got Facebook. Everyone is fighting for this brain technology.
Here's an example. It came out a year into COVID. The documents were released. People can look it up. That Google, Apple, Facebook were all giving tens of millions to the direct COVID research development. They are all fighting to be involved in even that project.
You're exactly right. Just a little bit of tidbit on the study that's going on in the UK. They are detecting a 1-bit transmission, and they are tracing this 1-bit transmission back to an Apple on those MAC addresses that they're detecting.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you went back to that. You said that the Graves, it's an Apple code. To me, it seems like Apple, when it comes to devices for the public, is like the front line. It seems like it's the dominant thing. Not saying it's in charge, but it seems like for always the latest, always the greatest, always just, giving China the codes to everybody's databases 7 years ago. It seems like Apple's always at the forefront.
In this case, it is. In this particular study, that's what it was indicating. Yeah. So, but maybe we should.
When's the last time I saw an apple with a bite out of it?
Good question.
Well, in the Bible, what did that apple represent? Knowledge, right? And we were warned about what happens when we obtain too much knowledge.
And we're getting a good example now.
Yeah, we're living through it right now. And I never thought or imagined me growing up in this country that we'd ever be at the point where we're at. The times of working hard, the American dream, just succeeding by the efforts that you put forth, those days are gone if we continue to do this.
It's going to be your submission, giving up your humanity.
Yeah.
And you get the power, but none of it matters because you've given up your humanity.
Correct.
Like people will always ask, would you give your eyes up for $1 billion? Everybody says no. Would you give your soul up for $10 billion? They don't think of it as a quantified. That's who you are. It's way more important than your eyes.
Correct.
Well, I'm impressed with you, Jesse Beltran. Mind Nexus Live on X, mindnexuslive.com. You got to come back. Promise the next, because we get shut down. I always say this, we're always fighting. It's totally real. You got to come back the next few weeks for like 3-4 hours straight.
I would love to. We'll make it happen.
Because what's scary is I've studied all this, but I forget it all. Like, oh, that's true, that's true, that's true, that's true, that's true, that's true. And I was like, So I want to come back, have Sean talk about what you guys do on his podcast is about to come out. It's going to be amazing. I want to air that here. And just, general knowledge about this and how you're able to scan this, because this is so important. Jesse Bertrand is amazing. I'm begging him to come back to 3 hours commercial free as soon as he can. And I'm really glad that Sean, who never says like, hey, I got a guest on who's great. I'd heard the name. He said, we'll come over tomorrow and exercise. We did it. And Jesse and Sean kicked my ass this morning doing push-ups and mountain climbers and all that while we hiked. This guy's in great shape over here, firefighter, I guess so. I guess he could probably carry us both upstairs, 100 stairs. But just finish points you want to make, and then I want to bring in Sean and his thing, because just like in reports you put out years ago, you did the mapping with the device. He can go buy it at the store and show the same thing. It's placed in exact parts of his body. Not a physical, easy-to-find chip, but migrated nanotech, obviously. And this is all confirmed in their own patents. This is a revolution against humanity. Jesse Bertrand.
Yeah, well, what I would ask everyone is our mission has been to get on, this is our dream, to be on a platform like yours, Alex, and so we're so appreciative.
Well, you're already in the new Died Suddenly. You can't even figure it out.
Yeah, and we appreciate Matthew Scow and that team. But really, what we need to do is start fighting back. And the way we're going to fight back is start to repeal Section 3024 of the 21st Century Cures Act. So if you could, we're trying to get 1 million signatures. If you can go to stop3024.com, sign that petition to get it repealed, and then we have another hurdle, and that's to address the rule of law, which they have some similar legislation in there, which allows them to do this to us.
We got to get Kennedy on this.
Yes, most definitely.
You're already briefing him, right?
Yeah, I spoke in Southern California on the Santa Monica region, a group that is licensed and supported him through his campaign, asked me to come and do a presentation about this exact topic. It was streamed to Matthew Scow's audience. There was over 10 million people. It was a full house. And so we're on our way, but we.
Well, for anybody questioning, I already know all this. You just put it together better than me. It's all true. Look at this. His new Surgeon General totally away. So they got a problem on their hands. Humanity's fighting back. So big picture, I asked you, I know it's different technologies, but are they 20 years, 50 years ahead on average?
So with the advent of AI, I think we've surpassed Moore's Law. Moore's Law was that technology would, double, triple at every 5 to 7 years. But with the advent of these supercomputers and where that technology is going, quantum computing, Moore's Law is being surpassed at a much, much higher rate.
So that triggers exponential towards what you would call the singularity.
Correct. They believe that now we're seeing every 5 years with the advent of this technology.
And then it's every year, and then every month, and every week. And then
correct. Yeah, it continues to get shorter and shorter.
What's the trajectory? Why do they say 2047, end of humanity?
Well, by 2030, this biochip that they want in everyone is the plan. They want human cyborgs. And then you have to ask yourself, then if everything's autonomous and controlled, do we need as many people on the human planet as we have currently?
We don't need many robot polishers.
Yeah.
To quote Schwab.
Who decides who gets to stay and who goes? Who's really playing God? Remember,
and then to even interface with everything, you either got to join it or fight it.
Yeah, even AI is programmed by a human. So.
All right, Sean Johnson, great guest you got on. Thanks for, I already knew who he was. I don't know why I didn't get him on.
Yeah,
what was it like when you had him on your podcast? Comes out in a few days, and he scans you, already shows you maps, and then boom, it's exactly where he said it would be in a soldier.
Yeah, I'd like to say I was shocked, but I really wasn't. I believe Jesse and everything he's saying. We had a conversation about this on the car ride today. I like to stay open-minded. I can't pretend like I know more than anybody else, and I'm just not going to keep my head in the sand. So I like to bring on guests that have a lot of very interesting things to say, and then give them the platform, give them the floor so they can do like a long-form conversation. And then that allows me to become like a satellite conduit to platforms like yours. So if I find somebody that's very interesting, then I can bring them on. So when Jesse came on and he's like, hey, I bet you got some RF signals on you, I was like, probably. I remember when I was in the teams, they had us swallow this capsule that had some sort of electronic monitor in it. And basically what that was used for, or at least what we were told it was used for, is to monitor our core temperature, because we were exposed to such cold temperatures that they would, basically take us out of the water every so often, have us get in a long line and measure the temperature in our stomachs to make sure that we weren't about to.
And this is 20 years ago, and you're passing the teams.
No, this is like when I was going through training to become a Navy SEAL.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was back in 2010, 2009, 2010 timeframe. But at the time you believe them and you do what you're told. You're in the military. But I always wondered.
Well, they don't know either. They're just.
I always wondered, did I shit that thing out? I don't remember shitting it out. Like, is that thing still in me? Was that the only thing it was used for? And so when Jesse said that, I said, but I was surprised when he scanned me that I had so many of these across my body.
And they do it through injections now. That's how they're there.
Apparently. I don't know when I was injected, but I know I used to go to the dentist through the VA, through the military. We would have to go once a year to go to the dentist. And obviously they would put you under if you needed to get something done. Who knows? But it's scary stuff. And it's even more scary, like Jesse touched on it, this Trojan horse thing. Like when he started talking about them introducing these nano robots into our system via vaccine, I was like, yes, I didn't take the vaccine, I'm safe. But then Jesse tells me, he goes, no. They were actually using it with the nose swabs. So even if you chose not to get the vaccine, the nose swabs were the Trojan horses. So they still introduced them to your system, and it went straight through the blood-brain barrier.
And it was creating the connection, the hydrogel.
The hydrogel.
Yeah. So like it was the perfect storm for them to introduce that across the entire planet. Create a fake fucking virus, give everybody fake vaccines, and if they won't take the vaccine, they're still going to get tested, because you still had to get tested if you were going to go into work. So they got us.
Yeah.
Now it's introduced to every single person on this planet, or at least 90% of it. So, yeah, it's very concerning.
All right, so you're going to show in your podcast. When is that? How do people find the Sean B. Johnson?
Yeah, so it's called the Sean Johnson Podcast. You can find me on YouTube, the Sean Johnson Podcast. I'm also on X. I'll post videos and reels on Instagram.
When's this interview dropping with Jesse?
This one will be the Monday after next.
All right, so get out your scanner, explain what it is, and I've seen the videos. You have governments with their own. They found the same thing. You go in Faraday cages with officials that say they're being under attack. You've worked with Havana syndrome people, you name it. That's classified, but it's being proven. So tell us what's happening here.
So typically what we generally do is use the RF detector, and we'll find those locations where we're detecting an RF emission. And then we'll come with what's another device that emits a frequency, basically a Wi-Fi frequency at around 2.4 hertz. But it's designed to detect semiconductor materials. So any electronic component and very, very small size. What it'll do, it'll send out a harmonic to identify whether there's something there. And it can be on or off. If it identifies it, it will turn it on. With that harmonic, a secondary harmonic will read it. And then we'll see whether or not it's electronic in nature, or a third harmonic, which means it's corrosive or a type of metal.
And my headset will interrupt it, so I'm going to turn my audio off. It'll still pick it up.
Yeah, I can pick it up.
So let's show people right now.
Yeah, so transmit that power.
So overhead shot if we can. Document cam shot, guys. Turn the mics up.
So it says silicone base. Okay, so that means it's an electronic component.
Yeah, zoom in for this. Do it again. That's my earpiece. Let's zoom in on that, guys. All right, let's turn it off.
It'll still pick it up even if it's off.
Wow. Because it's never really off. All right, now you want to scan Sean or do me first?
Whatever you guys want to do.
You're the boss. Go ahead.
Okay. Sean, we can replicate what we did. Yeah.
Just stand right here.
Where do you want me?
Let's go out front. Go out front up out here.
Yeah.
Let's go that wide shot.
All righty. Yep, right there's fine. And so what we'll do, so this will even pick up, if your key fob is in you, we'll be able to pick up. Go ahead.
I got nothing on me.
Yeah, keep your eyes closed.
Picking up on his temples like you did.
So that is a second harmonic, which means there's some type of semiconductor detection there. And this.
And you said it's soldiers all the time. Most people, nothing happens.
Yeah. And then on the left side, so the patterns that we pick up on him are very typical of what we would see in the soldier. The right and left TMJ.
Which matches the map we put up 5 years ago.
Correct. The right and left apex, the abdominal area. Yeah, and again, it's only second harmonic, so it's nothing metallic or anything like a nail that he got when he was a child. And this is how we were able to locate the exact areas to check the hips. It's a little bit lighter signal there, but still second harmonic, which means that that's what.
And you have different maps you put out years ago showing the different groups you do. You do this with pure research.
Correct. And then if we go to the back, the base of his neck will light up. The back of the head, and usually the scapula area.
That's the brainstem.
Correct. So this nanomaterial will assemble at high density nerve endings in the human body. And that's why we're detecting them in the areas that we're seeing on him. So, but that is very typical.
All right, let's do me.
Okay.
We haven't done me yet. Let's find out.
Okay. Now, did you have a PCR test or vaccine?
No, I refused them. Joe Rogan tried to give me one, but I refused.
Oh, really?
Not against Joe, but that's the only comment I said.
Okay, yeah. So, but we're constantly being bombarded with this nanotech stuff.
Yeah, I'll narrate.
So he's got an ear
on the temporal
piece,
side
so
there.
that's what I'm
Let me take this
picking
off
up.
so that I
Yeah.
can do that. I'll take this off.
Yeah.
Take it off, sorry. Here we go, folks, doing this live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Quote Bill O'Reilly. Sorry. All right, let's do it. Sorry.
All righty. So we'll go ahead. So if you put that camera in there, you see how it says probably silicone? That means it's an electronic component. And it's not unusual to find that in the posterior ear area.
So wait, I got a higher reading than him?
No, his was higher than yours.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, but you did get a positive reading there. So you are getting at the base of the neck is what we typically see. Scapula area.
You got him too, buddy.
And the lower lumbar.
Got us.
And again, what we're finding is after post-COVID, this is very typical. We're completely bombarded by this stuff. And again, it says silicone-based. The apex. And the abdomen. And again, silicone-based. So.
Worse than Sean?
No. But that would be an indicator of positive.
Let me test your machine. Zap right here.
No. There is a hit there. You have something there?
Yeah, I got a 22 caliber pellet gun shot me through. They didn't remove it. So
Really?
That's in the back of there, yeah.
Okay, so but that is reading a second harmonic and a third harmonic, which means it's the indicator is that there is an electronic component with some metallic in
Sure,
there.
hit the base of my leg. See what you get right here.
Okay.
Do it with the ankle. So give you an example. I have a pin in my leg. So I was 16 and had a compound fracture. My doctor died of a heart attack a month after they never removed the pin.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a huge metal pin, and that isn't being picked up, but other stuff is.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Want to scan the other side, or are we done?
I did pick up the other side. There was nothing there that I could detect.
It picked up the bullet and the other leg.
Yeah. But that's it?
So what does that say? Comparable or less?
Well, you know what? If we were to do a thorough exam, which takes a little bit longer, we would want to do the RF scan with the JM20 Pro first. Then we would come back with the frequency reader to obtain the numerical frequencies that we're detecting, and that would complete the whole process.
Do you have to take them out in order to get that numerical number?
No.
No?
No, we can detect it remotely.
And I noticed on you have the profile of different people. Did my profile pick up like a soldier's or somebody else's?
Very typical of the civilian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gonna bring that next time you come?
So why do you find over and over, he showed it earlier, why do you find soldiers have this particular pattern? We don't know.
Don't know. All we can say is that we can typically see what that pattern's based on the study. I don't have to know anything about the person. I can look at the profile and say, well, this is probably a soldier, or this is probably someone who was.
And what are you finding with the State Department and CIA folks you've scanned?
Very typical of what we would find on a soldier. So.
Well, this sounds alien to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
You were saying you're talking to high-level people. What do they think?
Well, I've spoken to high-level people, and I'm very left brain. There is this phenomena where people say they've been abducted by aliens, and Dr. Lear was very famous for pulling out implants, and they said they were alien implants. But the bottom line is, all of these implants that were pulled out can be identified and traced back to some type of bio research company.
Because you use a human code.
Yeah, and then there's the phenomenon where you talk about people who believe they've been abducted by the military and they've had these implants put in them. Same thing, they're always identifiable. And then we have the civilian population. Currently, I have 6 cases that we have medical imagery and all of the basis that they have a foreign body in them. And legally, we can only say for whatever reason, there is a foreign body based on these images. When we use this equipment, all we can say, for example, here, is that for whatever reason, we're finding a frequency at very specific focal areas on the human body. When you use the secondary device, then it's detecting a semiconductor. That leads you more evidence that there's a high probability that there's something there.
So we know there's all the patents. We know what's going on. We know the COVID shots. We're growing this stuff in people with the graphene oxide. What's happening there?
So if you have the larger tech in you, you're lucky, because that can be identified and surgically removed, sent to a lab, and usually all of these things will have some type of serial number because
you said that's pre-2015.
Correct, yeah. Now we're dealing with nano, and so we were a little disheartened and discouraged and say, well, what do we do about this now? There is a product out there, and this has been peer-reviewed and studied, and it's naturally sourced high-grade zeolite. And we have a lot of these victims who are taking this and having some significant results in the decrease in the amount of symptoms that they're having.
What does zeolite do to the...
Yeah, so zeolite is a product that is, you can find it in blue zones. Usually there has to be some type of volcanic activity, which meshes with the diatomaceous earth and the ocean, and it creates this compound called zeolite, and it's negatively charged, and it's one of the only few natural substances that you can take, and it will bind with the graphene oxide. And so they've done control studies with this product, and after about 90 days, they see a significant decrease in the graphene oxide.
We got to put that out, because I know zeolites are good for it anyways. Zeolite nanotech detox.
Well, it not only does it take the graphene oxide, it takes a lot of these poisonous metals that we're constantly being subjected to.
So it's a chelator.
Correct, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
In closing, Sean, amazing information with Jesse Beltran. We know this is going on, all the patents. We need to get ahead of this, be aware of this, because this is out of control.
In the comment sections, if you have made it through this whole video, by the way, you are amazing. You've got attention span out the wazoo, and you're thirsty for information. And I want to bring more of that to you, so don't forget to hit the like button on this. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And I'll do my best to inform you as well as possible. But in the comment section, it would also help if you kind of left me a little bit of maybe an opinion fact of what you think. I'm open to all dialogue. And, how does stuff like that make you feel? kind of makes me wonder too. And I'll do my best to keep bringing this stuff as long as YouTube will let me. Like I say, they're killing my channel. They don't want me getting to reach out anymore, so I'm just going to start doing stuff like this a little bit more. And it doesn't matter if they, take it, whatever. So thank you all, guys. You're wonderful people, and have a wonderful day.